This week on the podcast, Carrie and I are looking ahead at 2022. Who would we love to have as a guest on the podcast? We're sharing our lists, and some of these people, well, it just might happen. And some, well, a girl can dream. Stay tuned to find out who they are. You're listening to the Pixie Dust Fan Podcast. Hi, I'm Francine.
And I'm Carrie.
We're two best friends who can't stop talking, usually about Disney stuff.
Sometimes we have fascinating guests, and sometimes it's just us, but it's always positive and fun.
We're happy to have you join our chat. Thanks for listening, and let's get started. Hello, Carrie.
Hey, Fran.
How are you?
I'm pretty good.
It's episode 2 of 2022.
Yes.
I feel like we're getting back in the groove, but it's
back in the swing.
We're getting back in the swing of things, but it's funny.
Slow.
Like we take 2 weeks off, and then it's like all of a sudden we're all out of whack.
Slackers.
But we had a very successful download day, which was great for our first episode of 2022.
I know, it was awesome.
And
thank you.
Thank you. People, we got a lot of great feedback. Like, we're going to have an episode this week, right? So it was kind of nice to see people were missing us.
Yeah.
That kind of feels good, doesn't it?
Yep.
It totally does.
We're back.
We're back.
We got a fun one today, or we think it's fun. We've been having fun talking about it.
Yeah, this is a good one. So last week we did like the look back at 2021. Mm-hmm. And today, we are looking forward at 2022. And the guests that we would love to have on the podcast this year. Well, so...
or future years.
Or future years, yeah, when we're... So when we're at the famous people's parties and we get to invite the famous peoples. But you're right. So we talked about it on the last episode. Terry Harden told us, put it out there. Like... Nobody knows what you're looking for, what you want, unless you say it. And worst thing that could happen is it doesn't happen.
That's right.
But put it out there. And she's definitely a guest we want back.
Yeah. I think that's the
100%.
thing. We would love to have everybody back.
Yeah. So we were going through our list of who do we want, and then it kind of, we started going through, well, all of these people from like last year, like all of our past guests, we want back on. We want to check in with them, get updates, just reconnect, talk about new projects, things they're working on.
What's shaking,
what's going on. Like Soul Duo. Remember we had Soul Duo on? Oh my gosh, They're so much fun. And they're the musical entertainment that are on Disney Cruise Line. And they, of course, were not with the cruise line when they weren't sailing. And now, so he's back on the ship, but she hasn't managed to get back to the ship yet. So They're kind of separated right now. Not separated, but he's on the ship. She's not there yet. And she's just working on her travel plans to get there and join him. But like, how much fun. They're on the Fantasy. So yeah, that was a great episode too. So we would love everybody back. Terry Harden, Kelly Younger, our friend Kelly.
Our pal.
Our pal. Elantris can't, we kind of want Lou. Yeah.
So we've got to weave those guys back in. So we can't make, we've got all these people on our list, but we can't forget the people that have been there for us.
Exactly.
Already.
You think Bob Gurr's going to come back?
No. He's got all kinds of other
he's got all sorts
of
stuff going on. But yeah, we've had some really great guests on. So yes, we'll reach out to them for sure to have them back on. But we thought it would be fun for people that we would love to have on to interview. Let's put it out there. And so we did try to figure out, should we put them into sections? Like attainable could happens versus who are we kidding? We're just dreaming.
A girl can dream.
But then we kind of got stuck in the middle of, well, would this be a dreamer? Could this really happen? Like, we didn't think we'd get Bob Gurr on our podcast, and we did. We never thought, the likes of Terry Harden or Kelly Younger would be on our podcast, but we did. So maybe some of them aren't so far-fetched. Maybe it could happen. So do you want to just throw one out, Carrie? Like I don't even need, so I'm going to throw it out there just because I would die if I ever got the chance to speak to Harrison Ford.
Let's go straight to the top.
Let's just go straight to the top. I would just faint if I ever got to speak to him. It will never happen. But it's like I can't put out a list like this and not include him, right? Like it just.
I think at one point we should look back to see how many times you've mentioned this on the podcast, putting it out there in the world. I think you started doing this long before Terry advised us to.
I think that's true. I think that's true because I just like, to talk to Han Solo would just, yeah. Anyway. Okay. So I put that one out there. Where are you going with this, Carrie? What have you got on your list?
Well, of course, my dream would be some Muppet performers. Absolutely. And,
who's like, who are the top of the list?
Well, I really, any of them, like, I would be
like any
floored to have, but Matt Vogel, Kermit.
Yes. Kermit, of course.
Kermit the Frog, like he has a podcast. You got to
say hello to him. Yeah.
I said hello to him. He has a podcast called Below the Frame, but like, we're really not Muppet performers, so I don't know that he really wants us on his show, but he might come on ours.
He could think that we are kind of Muppets, but he might come on ours. Like, yeah, maybe we should just reach out.
And then Bill Beretta.
Yeah.
Rolf and
Rolf.
Pepe.
Yeah.
And he and his brother have like a YouTube show. So like they're kind of already in that side of the podcast biz, I suppose. So, maybe possible.
It might be. Again, remember, Lou kind of made us feel official. Like we're really in the official podcaster community. So maybe.
But like Frank Oz, like anybody that's worked with the Muppets, like I watch the Beretta Brothers did like they do these shows where they'll bring everybody on, and like I sit at my desk and like giggle and squeal, like, and it takes me like the whole like they did one for the Haunted Mansion, the special, the Muppets Haunted Mansion, and I seriously was like it took me the whole time they were chatting to actually think of a question and ask a question. And by then someone had already asked it like 4 times probably. But Kelly was on it. This was before he reached out to us,
friends,
right?
Yeah.
Before we were pals. But like I seriously like listen to those podcasts and watch the Beretta Brothers YouTube channel. And I just sit and giggle and laugh and think, oh my goodness, like if Kelly thought I was silly, doing my review and being silly with him, like, yeah, like it's kind of embarrassing. Like I'm in my own little world. So
did you even ask a question? Did you actually ask one?
Oh no, I typed it in the chat. It was a chat.
But you typed it in the chat?
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
But it took me the whole time to like think, I want to make sure I asked the right one. And then I
can totally see you stressing over, did I ask it right? Did I write it right? Like, is my English proper?
Like before somebody else asked the same thing, but just worded a different way. And I think they answered his question. So yeah, anybody that was like that, I think I'd be over the moon, to have a chat with, one of them, a few of them together. A few of them together, my head would probably pop off. It'd be like definitely like a Muppet skit where like, Beaker's head explodes. Probably. Not probably. Would be.
It would be. It would be.
So I think they would like that would be my ideal.
Yeah. And I think people can totally understand that about you because we did have so many comments about your excitement over the Muppets Haunted Mansion. They could hear it and feel it, so they could only imagine. So if anybody has any contacts,
any
connections to hook Carrie up on this, you'll get to hear her totally squeal and fangirl with these people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome. But anyways,
that would be
awesome.
awesome.
Of course, obviously,
yeah, that's kind of like
I'm not going to be picky and choosy. I'll take whatever I
any
can
of
get.
them.
I'm not going to say one's better than the other. One's my more dreamy podcast guest than the other. So
right,
yeah,
very cool. Okay, I do have I have a few that are kind of like, yeah, who am I kidding? But whatever. And they're so this one is, I would love John Stamos. Only I would love to talk about his, like I also thought about Neil Patrick Harris. You know what fascinates me about these guys is their love for Disney.
Yes.
And their collections and their collectibles, right? And how like they're just like us but with more money.
Yeah, so they can afford
the cool, like I think John Stamos has a Dumbo in his house, right? And Neil Patrick Harris, I remember seeing him on some talk show talking about he was bidding for the stretching portraits from the Disneyland Haunted Mansion. And he was bidding against some other star. And they paid an exorbitant amount of money for these stretching portraits, but he got them. But yeah, like I would just love to hear sort of their fandom firsthand and their collections, because they are just like us, like how they love it, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think they would be awesome.
I agree. They're mine too. That's the thing. I think everybody on our list. Yeah. Well, maybe you don't care to talk to the Muppets as much as I do. The Muppet performers, of course. Generally, and if I don't have a conversation with Harrison Ford in my lifetime, I think I'll be okay. But other than that, I think a lot of the people that are on the list, we feel the same. We feel the same way about.
Yeah. So just to round it out, though, in terms of like people in movies and TV and stuff, I had written down, which you would find comical, but it's just because I'm in such love with the show right now, Cobra Kai. I would love to have Ralph Macchio and William Zabka on just to talk to them about like the show.
just tell them how dreamy they are.
Well, for me, I'm all about William Zabka. So he, right? Like Johnny is my guy. I would never have fallen for Ralph Macchio. I would always have been the fixer-upper. That was, I think they're awesome. If you haven't watched it, you should.
Well, I would want totally them on the podcast since I'm such a big, Karate Kid fan.
Of course, yeah.
I'm an OG.
Do you have any other like non-Disney related people?
Well, I love one podcast that I love listening to because it makes me laugh so much is Smartless. Like, can we have Jason Bateman, Sean Hayes, and Will Arnett on our podcast one time?
You tell me about that. I've never listened to it, but you tell me about their episodes all the time. Like you say it's funny.
They're pretty funny. Some of them. And I find because they're all celebrity guests that they have on, and some of the episodes I really look forward to, I think, oh, this is going to be really good. Like they had George Clooney, and I was like, it wasn't so great. But then some of them I listened to, you hear different sides of someone's story or whatever that you had no idea. But and then these guys are just hilarious. Like they had Tom Hanks on, and then going back and forth, how funny those guys are, right?
Right.
Like,
just regularly, they're funny.
Regularly. So it's like three hilarious buddies that are BFFs interviewing celebrities and them being ridiculous and making fun of each other and teasing each other. But at the same time, trying to do a good job interviewing somebody. Right. And they really do interview people. Like they do talk about these people and like I said, tell story here. You hear stories about things they actually have an interview, but and it's unbelievable how they do, because the three of them are a bunch of jokesters / boneheads / whatever, like with each other. Like, so anyways, that's I enjoy that one. So if we were going to put, some celebrities out there, they'd probably be on
they'd be on your list.
Yeah. But I'd probably put Ralph Macchio ahead,
oh yeah. He'd be up there on your list. Like Ralph Macchio, is your Harrison Ford kind of thing.
Well, because I'm a Karate Kid fan.
Exactly. Like me, it's Han Solo, Indiana Jones, right? Like he's just awesome.
Yeah, I'd like to have Leonardo DiCaprio. If we want to talk about people that we might have crushed on when we were younger, but
yes,
he's a lot old. He's
Leonardo DiCaprio.
I love Leonardo DiCaprio. I love River Phoenix. River Phoenix. Oh my goodness. Number one. And then Leonardo DiCaprio, younger Leonardo. Yes, absolutely 100%.
Oh my goodness.
Ralph Macchio was a lot old. When he was always way older, right? Than me. That's why he's so amazing now. Age. Because I think he's. Okay, I'm gonna Google this.
I think he's older. He is older than me, but he looks young, right? Isn't he 55 or 56 or something?
I'm going to tell you in 1 second. He is 60 years old.
No way.
Mm-hmm. So when I was a teenager, I thought he was.
So he was an old man.
You had a crush. He kind of had a crush on the Karate Kid, but he really you had a crush on the people and okay, I did have pictures of him out of my, Big Bopper and Teen Beat magazine. But,
oh my gosh.
When usually you like the ones that are closer to your age. So he was quite a bit older when I was watching Karate Kid for the first time.
I can't, but Leonardo DiCaprio, like, you had a type.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, we're not tired to talk about my
I know, but I'm just, like, we totally would not have been like, we wouldn't have been, we were totally different. You would have been, I'm Johnny, you're, what's his screen name?
I loved when I was a teenager, I loved Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton, the guy on the Big Bang Theory.
Star Trek: The Next Generation. Stand by Me.
Gosh.
Oh my goodness, I love Stand by Me.
They're almost like very pretty boy kind of.
I don't know. I can't.
Wow.
Teenager, a teenager.
Yeah, totally not my scene. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I was
more
like
have been friends
the rogue,
we would not
rugged,
have been friends.
Yeah, Harrison Ford, Sam Elliott, like
you probably
that
would have
kinda...
beat me up after school.
Nicolas Cage, like those kind. Yeah.
Look at Carrie over there weaving bracelets on her lunch hour, beating bracelets on her lunch hour. Is she crafting in the lunchroom?
Hey, I like your little bracelets. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we're gonna go back to
serious stuff now.
Serious stuff. Like now we got to talk Disney people, right? Like now Disney sort of. Are we looking at a guest that we would like from the Disney communities?
Sure.
So, because there are Disney guests that I would like that I also believe are a girl could dream. Because I think they might be a bit far-fetched. Like I don't think I could get them on the show. I mean, we could put it out there, but I'm not sure.
Well, we're putting it out there.
Okay, all right. So of course Josh tomorrow. Of course Josh tomorrow, because I think he's lovely. And I think he cares about the cast members, and I think he cares about the guests. And I would just love to hear his vision. And we're friends now, because, we had our picture taken at the Destination D event, where I could barely speak, but whatever. But yeah, I would love to hear his vision for the parks. And, so he's the president of the parks. So because not everybody knows the executives and stuff. Like, why would you, right? But I'd love to hear his vision. But I would also love to talk to Bob Chapek. And I know he gets a ton of heat, and I know he gets a ton of hate, but I think right now, anybody that followed Bob Iger, I'd love to talk to Bob Iger, but anybody that followed Bob Iger was going to be in a bad spot. And Bob Chapek isn't making all these decisions on his own. Like, I am under no ruse that, the lightning lane charges also got the thumbs up from Josh Tomorrow, president of the parks.
That lovely guy.
The lovely
guy. That's really lovely.
It wasn't all Bob Chapek. Like, it's not like Bob Chapek is out there, ringing the cash register and everybody else is singing Kumbaya. Like I totally get it. But
make more merch.
Right? But I would love to hear Bob Chapek, like what his vision is for the company without dealing with the hate, right? Like, and really talk about what is his love of Disney? What does Disney mean to him? Like, does he have that emotional connection to the company that Bob Iger seemed to have? Or that Josh Tomorrow has. Like, maybe Bob Chapek has it and he's not doing a good job of showing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to talk to him. So, yeah.
What about some Imagineers? Do you have some Imagineers on our list?
So I did. So I had Sharita Carter. So there's lots of great Imagineers, but I had Sharita Carter on there. She is the senior producer for Walt Disney Imagineering, and she worked on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. She worked on lots of stuff, but I really felt drawn to her when I saw her presenting what they had done and how they came up with the design for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And it was sort of her love and affection for the characters that really came through as she was describing it. And I think she would be so fascinating to talk to about how she worked on that project. And you know what it is, Carrie? I like to hear people's love of Disney. Like, what does it mean to you? What does it mean to work at a place like this? Do you have childhood memories or a special story from your family that really guides what you do when you're designing something? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think that would be awesome. And then, of course, so I had Becky Klein. So she is is she the director, president, whatever, of the archives?
Bigwig.
She's just the bigwig.
The top cheese.
Of the archives. Mm-hmm. She's got access to all the good stuff.
She must have some great stories, or even just telling us stuff about the archives that we probably have no idea those things still exist.
Like how it works and where they store the stuff and how do they preserve it. And like they've got the D23 shows where they showed you like the horse from Mary Poppins and stuff like that. But I'm sure there's tons of stuff that's sort of maybe lesser known, but more fascinating. You know what I mean?
For sure.
For like the Disney fans, I would love to have her on.
I would love to understand like the volume of the archive and how the heck they manage like over the years, how it's changed. Like, is it a lot easier to archive things than it was in the past? Like how much of this the company is archived like today? Like what does get archived and what determines if it gets archived, or can they archive everything, or do they archive, like how do they choose? Like are things digital, like, or do they just have warehouses upon warehouses or whatever? Like the logistics and the administration of it would
like even how they do all that stuff. I'd love to know, how did they acquire stuff now? Like, did they look on auctions and then see someone selling something and then go, and how do they validate that it's real? Like somebody's selling this Walt Disney, autograph. How do they validate that it's real? I would love to hear all that stuff. We should reach out to, Carrie, it never hurts. It never hurts, because I got to tell you, we kind of said, we should see if Bob Gurr wants to come on. And I was like, okay, I'll just email, never thinking that they would say yes. But we just sent the email and ta-da. Right?
We should have asked her at Destination D.
Yeah, we probably should have. We should have. But even Jeff Barnes, he was one of the first authors I had on the podcast. I never thought for a second he would say yes.
Yeah.
Like, sure. I could barely speak on that episode.
And we could always ask Bill Farmer. He's the voice of Goofy. Oh my
gosh, the voice of Goofy. He's so much fun.
And we would love to have Brett Iwan. Like, oh my goodness.
The voice of Mickey Mouse?
Yes.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be so fun? We should so totally reach out. What is the worst that could happen? They just say no, or they just ignore us.
They just ignore our email.
They just ignore us. That's okay.
It goes to their junk folder.
Let's do it. I think this is, so we're putting it out there. So we're going to do it. If it's, and FYI, so if you never see a podcast with Bill Farmer or Brett Iwan, it means they didn't reply to us. Not that we didn't reach out, that they didn't reply. I don't know if I'm going to reach out to John tomorrow or Josh tomorrow or Harrison Ford, but whatever, we'll see. I would love, so that's like Disney park people. Mm-hmm. I would love to talk to any cast members too, though. I love talking to cast members about their journey and their work and how they connect with guests and how things work behind the scenes, things that we would never think about. I love all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And recent ones, so it's hard because while they're working at the parks, they don't want to talk, or they really shouldn't. They don't dish the dirt. So it's really after they've left the parks, but it can't be like 15 years ago they worked in the parks because things are so different now, different. Right? Right. But I would love to also talk to Deb Wills.
Yes.
So for those,
I think you should ask her.
I know, but remember when we met her at the Destination D thing years ago? Like, I could have fainted. Like, I was like a schoolgirl, like, oh my gosh, she's talking to me. And then like I don't know what it was. It was later that day. Becky and I were going to get on the monorail, and she was coming off the monorail, and she said hello to us. Because she had met us that morning. I swear to God, Becky and I, you would have thought it was Harrison Ford that said, and the both of us get on the monorail and we're like, oh my God, she remembered us. We're like, So Deb Wills was the original OG. She started allears.net. And she was the original. That website was the gospel. You went there before you went to Disney.com to get info.
For sure. You only went there. You didn't need to go to Disney World, Walt Disney World.com.
Exactly.
All the information. She was like the online source.
Yeah.
Really, for Walt Disney World.
Everything you needed to know. You wanted a menu. You wanted to know room size. Like, no matter what you needed, it was there. And it was accurate.
And she built a huge, like, fan community. And
yeah, she really did. And she was always so nice. So I will tell you this. When the fans and everybody was starting out, and there used to be online forums where you talked with people at Disney, and then Facebook started, and adults started getting on Facebook. And a lot of these Disney people connected, and we were all friends on Facebook. And they would reach out to me, I would reach out to them, whatever. We all became friends. I will tell you this. There were a lot of them that are bigwigs now in the Disney community who unfriended me, who sent me friend requests in the beginning to support them, and then unfriended me as they got bigger. Deb Wills did not. We are still to this day friends on Facebook. I don't count it because, you know, like when I meet her in person, I'm like, oh my God. But yeah, she never unfriended me. Yeah.
You'll never forget that.
I'll never forget that.
And you'll never forget the ones that did.
Exactly. But honest to goodness, her site was awesome. She sold it a few years ago, unfortunately. Well, good for her because she's retired now. She's doing other stuff. But, I don't use it as a source of truth anymore, unfortunately, because it doesn't have the same stuff. There's a little bit more clickbaity on it. Yeah.
Right.
Which kind of brings me to some of my other people, Carrie.
Oh, geez.
Speaking of clickbaity.
Oh.
So I would love to interview some of the other bloggers and websites. So I would love to talk to WDWNT, Tom Corliss.
Me too.
Because I believe that Tom Corliss loves Disney. I think he's bitter about some stuff, but he developed WDWNT out of his real love for Disney.
Absolutely.
Like, he is passionate about it. He loves it. And, you know, they've hurt him in the past. But I believe that it started from a place of love, and I think it's still there. I just think that being an online person has beaten him up a little bit. Right? I think some of the Twitter community and stuff have been really horrible to him. And a lot of it's jealousy too. But he definitely has a bee in his bonnet about Bob Chapek. So
No.
I think that's clouded a lot of his stuff too. But I would just love to hear his story of how he fell in love with Disney.
Yeah, and to have and the level of love and passion he had for that product, that place, to do what he did and to keep at it and to achieve what he's achieved and the success in building his site and his staff and the coverage that he has, to keep going and keep at it to get there is amazing.
Yes.
Really. Like in a time where there's so much competition and so much on social media and Twitter and you know, ways for people to knock everybody down.
Well,
you know.
Yeah. And I think that's on the flip side. I would like to interview some of the not so good blogs out there where, and I'm not, you know what? I'm not going to say their names I'm not, because honestly, they bug me. But I want to interview them because I really want to understand, like, who hurt you? Why is every story negative? Or
it's people's onion,
right? Like people are boycotting Disney. And you know what it is? You open their link and people aren't boycotting Disney. It's one dude who tweeted that he's not going to Disney because they upped the price of the bounty platter. Like, and they all of a sudden have this huge headline about people just railing on Disney for stuff. And it's like that. How did you build a site that I believe probably started out of the love for a product, or did you really just not like Disney at all when you started your site, and you're really just looking to make money, and it's a good clickbait site? Like, is that what it is? Like, I would love to dive into that. Even the guys, what's his name? He owns a travel agency. He's got a whole the Diz guys. I used to like them, but they don't have a nice thing to say about Disney ever. It drives me crazy. I would love, so maybe after hearing this, they wouldn't want to be on the podcast anyway, but I'd love to sit them down and say, like, what happened? What happened to you? Yeah.
It's not very Pixie Dust Fanish. It's not very to dive into that drama.
Well, yeah, but I almost want to understand it. Like, how do you, because you don't, like, does doing this kind of work eventually just make you negative? Like, I don't want that to ever happen to me. So what happened to you? Like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'd love to pick their brains. Love it. Okay, Carrie, who else you got?
Well, I have some. I'd like to have talk to some people that are kind of in the YouTube community and in the fan community, like Justin Scarred Random Land. I don't know if anybody watches him on YouTube, but he does amazing videos, like Paris, Disneyland, Walt Disney World. He does like Route 66 videos. He does a good, like, he's like does almost mini documentaries on certain things.
Right.
And he's a very interesting guy, lots of energy, and has a passion for the artistic, like putting out something that is of quality, and he puts everything into all of his videos, right? Like, he won't put out anything that he thinks is crap. And he just seems like a fun, great guy. So I've been watching him for as long as I can remember. Like, he's part, like, when it comes to Disney YouTubers, him and a few of the other guys are some of the early ones that were out there with cameras in the parks, and people looked at them and thought they were like weirdos. Like, what's this guy walking around talking to himself in a theme park for?
Yes.
So him, Best Life and Beyond, they're newer.
They are so
YouTubers,
much fun. Yeah.
But they like, I just love those two, and I would love to just chat with them and talk to them about their love of Disneyland and how they love Disney World now, but how they keep everything positive, right? Like, they just want to talk about living your best life, whether it's Disney or wherever they go on their travels, and everything about them is like, it's positive and fun.
They're just happy people,
welcoming. Happy people. Like, you really, and like, I find with all these guys, when you watch them year after year after year, you really get to know them. Like, when they go, like, when they return to the park, we're watching them, we're crying, and like, you really connect with them, seeing, like, maybe it's because you have stuff in common with them, or you feel like, you feel the same way they feel, but you really, get into these guys that you feel like, you know them, and
you feel like they're your friends.
You do feel, and that's what all that stuff is about. So I would love to have them on a blog and just talk about being positive and living your best life and beyond. I always bug you that I would love to talk to someone about Tokyo, Disneyland, and the Asian parks. And there is a fellow there named Chris. He's a Canadian that lives in Tokyo. He runs a website, and he's a blogger / YouTuber / he does a podcast too called TDR Explorer. So I would love to talk to him.
Let's reach out
and see if
we'll add it.
He can teach our listeners about the Asia parks and why they're so amazing.
Yeah.
So, and then I'll put out there, there's some I don't know, Bantha boys, I'll call them, bobsled and
Bantha
Banthas.
boys.
That I listen to them all the time. They make me laugh.
Yeah.
I make you listen to them too sometimes if I think that's a good episode that you really enjoy, because they're funny. So Bobsleds and Banthas, I would love to
we reached out to, we had a conversation with them a while ago on Instagram. It's a
if anybody's listens to us and listens to them, make sure you tell them.
We had reached out to them, and we were talking about, going on each other's shows, and then I think we ended it with, I just said, let us know when you're up for it, because they had a busy schedule of travel and blah, blah, blah. And then that was it. We never heard back from them. So I feel like we left it in their court. But maybe they just forgot or whatever. Because you always bug me. Like, you always say they're like the male versions of us.
They're funny. Oh my goodness.
They are. Well, like, are we saying we're funny?
Well, they giggle, but in like the Bobsled and Banthas version of how two guy best friends would chat on a podcast, we do it in our own way. But that's what I think. I think they're very funny, and I like their back and forth and you can see they're true friends, and I think they haven't been friends, or they're kind of like us. They weren't friends their whole lives. They were just
like
friends
not
as
as children.
adults. They were just friends as adults, and they've become BFFs over a podcast, from what I understand. So yeah, I'd like to have
they're a lot of fun. So if anybody's listening that listens to them and knows them,
tell them Pixie Dust fans.
Hi, call us. We're here. I would love to hear if anybody has like people they would like to hear us interview.
Yes, absolutely.
That would be fun. Like recommendations of who they'd like to hear us talk to.
Mm-hmm. Other podcasters too would be.
Yeah, that would always be fun. Do you have anybody else on your list, Carrie? I think that was my list was exhausted.
I think that's probably it. Like there's. I think I just tend to focus on, like the people that are right in front of me. I think if I looked at, there's lots of people.
Oh, I know. But, we would love to talk to everybody. We just we would talk to a squirrel if it would sit still long enough. Like seriously.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So for 2022, we are going to reach out to some of these people. Who knows? Maybe all of them. Maybe I'll send Josh tomorrow a little note and say, hey, would you and Bob like to join us on a podcast?
Oh my goodness. Don't.
But remember we met at the expo, I said hi. So, but that's
probably better off with Ralph and
Ralph and William Zabka.
Yeah, because at least it's, they got something on the go right now.
Daniel, that's his name on it. Daniel. He's Daniel. The other one. Yeah. So I would never have been fallen for Daniel. Never. Yeah. I've got to have the fixer-upper. We'll definitely reach out to some of them. Not all. I don't know. We'll see. But what about our travel plans for 2022? We've got some stuff that we haven't made reservations anywhere.
Well, I have reservations.
You do.
Yeah.
So, what's your plans? What's your plans for 2022?
Well, we don't have any plans like anytime soon. That's I think what you were talking about.
Yeah,
like, it's not like we have anything on the go for the next month or two. Because we're kind of last minute.
We're last minute people. Yeah.
But this is a D23 Expo year, so I already have our room booked for the D23 Expo, and the tickets go on sale on January 20th.
Right.
So we'll be doing that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And you, Missy, need to get back to Disneyland.
I do. I really need to get back to Disneyland.
So that's on your docket. Been a while. I hope. It better be.
100%. I need to get back to Disneyland. This year, I'd like to do a lot more like short trips too, like long weekends and stuff, just to go more often, get some content, come back.
One thing we talked about a little bit, which I still got a lot of work to do, is maybe we would go to Dayton, Disneyana in June.
Yes, we talked about that. But it's such a long drive. It's always, me, it's always the drive.
So we're still talking about that, but we met Anita, who organizes Dayton, Disneyana, and she's a Pixie Dust fan.
Yes, that was funny when we met her.
So
because we were sitting having lunch and talking to her, and I don't think we put two and two together, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, and so that was kind of fun.
So I think we should go visit and see Dayton, Disneyana. I've been a few times, but I haven't been able to go because of work for a few years. So I really think you would enjoy it. And that's like usually Bill Farmer's there. Terry has been there in the years.
Like we could get all our podcast guests from there.
We could get some ideas and meet some of the future podcast guests.
I know. It's just such a long drive. I did look, but there's no flights.
I told you that already, or else I would go every year right after I'm done work. I jump on a plane, but
I know.
There's not a lot of flights from Toronto to Dayton, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know.
So it was in a different city, a major city, then it would be different. But anyway, so that could be possibly on our list.
Yeah.
And then the expo for sure.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I already have the room booked, so you're going.
Right.
And then my last thing is that I have some plans booked perhaps for my birthday in December.
Yeah.
For Walt Disney World.
I cannot believe you have never been to Walt Disney World on your birthday.
Nor Disneyland.
Like,
One year I went for my 40th birthday. 40th birthday, I went to Las Vegas. That's the only time Carrie, I've ever been somewhere on my birthday.
No, you're going to Disney on your birthday.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. It needs to happen.
Budget deadlines at work are usually in December. It needs to
happen. We just need to figure out the logistics, and it needs to happen because being in Disney on your birthday is so much fun.
Well, that's why there's a reservation in place so that we can say it is happening, and then we'll figure it out later. At least it's there, and then we got lots of time, like 11 months.
Yes,
pretty much.
To get it all planned and figured out.
10 months-ish to decide if we're going. So, yeah. But beyond that, we don't have anything. We really don't have anything planned. So
No. And yeah, so we'll play it by ear because we're pretty last minute with stuff like that too. And with all the stuff going on right now and I've got, with my sister not being well and stuff, I have nothing that I'm planning just yet. But hopefully we can get to planning some stuff soon.
Mm-hmm.
That would be awesome. Well, this was a fun one, Carrie.
It was.
See, it's nice to dream a little bit.
A little bit of dreaming.
A little bit of dreaming. A little dreaming. Cool. All right. Carrie.
Yeah.
What is your pixie dust this week? Did you have pixie dust this week?
Can you guess what it is?
Oh, yeah. I probably can. The release on Netflix?
Season 4 of Cobra Kai.
We haven't even talked about it. Like, you messaged me and said it's out.
To make sure you watched it. Like, get on it.
I know. Like, I totally would have missed it. So, but we haven't actually talked about it. So, we probably shouldn't do any spoilers.
I watched it twice. It's only 10 short episodes times 2.
Yeah.
It's just I think I'm a huge Karate Kid fan, so I know that I look at it and like Cobra Kai could probably do no wrong, like honestly. And I do look at it and I see, it is kind of in some parts it is kind of silly and whatever, but I think they do such a good job with like hitting that like nostalgia for the people that love it. Even with I even found this season with even more than season 3, like the nostalgia and how it feels and the jokes and everything that it just still made me feel that way. And you'd think like by season 4, it'd be more about the kids and whatever, and I wouldn't be as happy with it or whatever. But no, it was still funny and it was twice I've watched it. I'll probably who am I kidding? Maybe I'll go back and watch it all over again.
I know.
But
I think you're right about the nostalgia, but it really does stand on its own merit, Carrie. Like there is the nostalgia, but like my sister wasn't a big fan of the Karate Kid way back when, but she loves Cobra Kai. And me, I loved the Karate Kid movies. The first one really. Like after that I was kind of like, meh. But yeah, like I love it. I was trying to convince my nephew to watch it. I'm like, you need to go watch Cobra Kai. Like it's such a good show. He's like, yeah, all my friends are talking about it.
It's entertaining and it's funny and it's nostalgic. Yeah. It's got a little like I've got my mom and my aunts watching it.
It's like corny. It's good. Yeah.
I pretty much tell everybody like this is like I tell everybody to watch Cobra Kai like I did. Yeah. What was it? The one. Oh, for goodness sakes.
Tiger King?
No.
That one
Once
was
Upon
just
a Time.
mean.
Sorry, Once Upon a Time. Like, I don't know that I've really, like drove everybody gets crazy about something as back then when I was telling everybody to watch it. Same thing. I tell, like, just watch Cobra Kai. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
And
it's
Netflix,
so
of course, gives you all the episodes at once. So it's none of this, like, I was watching the Boba Fett, and it's like, this waiting till every Wednesday or Thursday is for the birds.
I haven't watched that one yet. Yeah. And even my Big Bang Theory, I gotta tell you, like one spot does not have all seasons. So I'm now on the last 2 seasons and I've had to buy them on Apple TV. Like, that bugs me.
Did you, like when I did binge, because I've been off work.
Yeah, because you got that bonus.
Right,
the
extra.
Your
because I was off
week.
Work, I had the extra time. I binge watched a whole lot of Golden Girls, too. So
I love that. Yeah, they have that on the TV, on the streaming that I got, too. So I'm gonna probably start binging some of that, too, because, of course, Miss Betty White. God, I love her.
You know what? You know what I think about, like, the Golden Girls. I streamed it like nonstop for like 2 days when I was off because whatever, like, you know, doing a puzzle, cleaning the house, whatever I was doing, I just had Golden Girls running. And that show makes me laugh like The Big Bang Theory makes me laugh.
Yeah. It's a belly laugh show.
They're totally different. They can't be any more opposite from each other, but the level of humor and the way that they both make me laugh is exactly the same. And I didn't really think about it until when I was watching it just the last week or two, that it really does give me the same level of joy, which I can't say that there's many television shows that have done that for me.
There
like
isn't.
Big Bang for sure does.
Yes.
And
the Golden Girls makes me belly laugh.
And I never really realized that it was kind of the same.
And Three's Company. Those would be my three,
goodness.
right? Like they make me laugh out. I could be sitting on the couch here by myself and I will laugh out loud and like tears streaming down my face and I'm by myself because it's just so funny.
Yeah. I have a couple seasons of it because I can never, since I don't have cable, I've got no way to watch them. So I have a couple seasons of
oh my gosh. Yeah.
Of Three's Company, but anyways.
That was my favorite show. Yeah. Okay, so that's
your pixie dust.
Yes. My pixie dust was, my family has been awesome. So with my sister in the hospital, we're limited to how many people can visit her. There's only 2 of us that are allowed to go in at any time. Like, we're only allowed 1 at a time, but really only 2 people, same 2 people the whole time she's there.
2 people on the roster.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's a lot, right? Like, it's 12-hour days at the hospital with her. We're out of isolation. Yay! So I don't have to gown and gloves and all that stuff. But my pixie dust is my family. Oh my gosh. So I'm coming home at night. I get home, maybe 8:30. And who wants to cook something then? Like for dinner? Do you know that my nephew drove down here on Christmas Eve and put like meals in my fridge?
Aww.
Like cooked meals. He made me Christmas dinner and put it in my fridge. And they have since come back. My other sister as well. Like so they have access to my house. So while I'm at the hospital, they will come and put pre-cooked meals in my fridge, home cooked. And I come home and I just have to heat them up. And
that's
like,
awesome.
I'll see on my Ring doorbell, I'm like, who's going into my house? And then I look and it's like basically delivery. It's like food
like,
delivery.
What's going on? And then now you're like, yay!
Yay! I wonder what's in the fridge today. So it's so, and I made, like I told my sister, I was like, oh my gosh, she went to the Scottish bakers and got like square sausages and potato scones and bread and everything. And I said to her, oh my gosh, that was so good. I ate them for dinner. And then like a couple days later, there were more in my fridge. Like, it's just, they've just been amazing. So yeah, that was my pixie dust. Yeah. Really taking good care of me. So that's kind of nice. So I don't have to eat like drive through. Yeah. Well, Carrie, this was fun. This was a lot of fun. And we're going to start putting out feelers. Let's see who we can get on. And please, everybody.
If you got any leads on any of these people we dreamt about,
send them in.
Send them a message and be like, psst.
Yeah, here they are.
We got a podcast for you.
Yeah. And thank you everybody for listening. We definitely see the growth in our podcast and we're loving every minute of it. So don't forget to give us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts if you can, because that really helps us out. And
on
now,
Spotify, is it Spotify?
Yeah, Spotify has like little stars too. So you can go on and give us stars on Spotify. So yeah, please do. Superstars. Oh, and before we forget, Carrie,
what?
I have something to tell you. Remember was it our last podcast or whatever, you were talking about Elantris, Diz Through Brown Eyes, and you always say, oh, she was like the first person I followed on Instagram. Did you know you can go into Instagram, click on people you follow, and then sort them by earliest follow?
Ooh.
I found that the other day, and I was like, I gotta remember and tell Carrie so she can validate, where Elantris was, because you're pretty sure
she's
pretty
close
up there
to that bottom of the list there.
There you go. So
or at the top, depending if you ascend or descend, I suppose.
Yes, but I thought I'd tell you that before I forgot.
Oh, that's cool.
So anybody listening, you can do the same. Look at who you've been following all along on Instagram.
Yeah, who you've been dedicated to.
All the way. All right, so I guess we'll talk to you next week.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Pixie Dust Fan Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
Make sure you're following us on your favorite podcast player so you'll get a new episode every week. And find us on social media too. We'd love to hear from you.
Till next time, remember, you are never too old to be young. Chase your dreams and design your own happily ever after.